morning. This is WDNA 88.9 FM and WDNA ORG. And this is a UM Frost Jazz Hour. Comes to you every Thursday at 11 a.m. And whether you're the kind of person who's just waking up or you've had a full day at this point, 11 a.m., well, what I can say is that this group is definitely going to make you wake up. And today we're presenting the Monk-Mingus Ensemble, which is directed by John Hart. And next week we have the Sam Hart Trio, so make sure that you don't miss out on that one. So there is so much music that we could pick from when it comes to Monk-Mingus, so I'm curious to ask the group how exactly they came up with their set list. But first up is Reincarnation of a Lovebird by Mingus. Reincarnation of a Lovebird by Mingus here on WDNA 88.9 FM. We are the Frost Jazz Hour, and today we have the honor and privilege of hosting the Monk-Mingus Ensemble from Frost UM. And when I listen to Monk and Mingus and these artists, it reminds me how deep this music is, where it comes from, why they do it. And so the next tune is entitled Introspection by Monk. And it's very fitting because these are people who just led a really difficult life. And someone like Monk, who was really ahead of his time, didn't really get any recognition until later on and even after he had passed away. So I'm so glad to present this music. This next tune is entitled Introspection, which is also arranged by Sten Greifer on drums. introspection here on today's WDNA 88.9 FM Frost Jazz Hour. We'll be taking a short break, but we'll be back. And part of my favorite thing to do here on WDNA is host the interviews. So today we'll be interviewing Jelani Bauman, who is from New Orleans. He's an internationally performing American musician, sound artist, and educator who plays with the practice and concept of lineage as a portal into past and future, transmuting the tension between tradition and improvisation that is the philosophical foundation of Black music. Bauman creates sound installations, original compositions, and film and podcast scores that propel his audience into a bright future, made possible by merging honor for and transgression of tradition. So stick around. It's going to be a good one. And I just want to say thank you to the audience members. Give yourself a round of applause. WDNA listeners, we are always open to live audience members. So whether you're listening online on the WDNA app, at home, on the radio, in your car, whatever it may be, if you have time next week, stop on by. The Jazz Gallery is open. And there's really nothing like feeling this music live and in person. Next Thursday, we'll have the Sam Hart Trio, November 16. And November 16 also happens to be, well, aside from my birthday, which is not important. Yes, it is. No, it's not. November 16 is actually Give Miami Day. And Give Miami Day is so important because the city of Miami provides bonus dollars to anyone who donates on that day to nonprofits like WDNA. So if you are considering renewing your membership for $60, November 16th is the day to do that. So make sure that you come to the live Jazz Gallery and that you tune in and that you keep Give Miami Day in mind. We'll be back on WDNA 88.9 FM. As promised, here on WDNA 88.9 FM, and it's an honor and privilege to introduce Jelani Akil Bauman. Welcome to WDNA. Welcome to Miami.
Thank you for having me.
So, as part of the Monk-Mingus Ensemble, I've always thought to myself, there's so much value from studying maybe one or two artists for a whole semester. So, at this point, how many weeks has it been that you guys been?
So today is November 9th. We started school like August 22nd. So do the math.
Oh, I can't. No.
So a couple of months. Yeah,
almost 3 months.
Yeah.
Wow.
2.5 months.
So how has that affected your playing? You know, I know that these are artists who really paved the way for collective improvisation and.
Man, it's been a beautiful experience. Some of these tunes I've played in the past. Some of them I've never played before, but they've been on my peripheral. And to get back into these compositions and take time to learn them, and like you start embracing and being more present with the spirit of these men, and the courage they had and the audacity they had to put this work forth, knowing that it may not be accepted, they may not be able to make a living or support their families, support their children off this music, but something within them said, I have to do this. And that's such an admirable and inspiring thing, especially in today's world where fear constructs are always attacking us to conform and to do what we need to do to quote unquote survive, but not having enough faith and belief in ourselves to do what's at us in our to do what's in our spirit. And Thelonious Monk and Charles Mingus are two prime examples of having the courage and the audacity of putting forth that work.
Very well said. And that almost reminds me of your artist statement. I love your artist statement, how really you pay attention to the concept of lineage as a portal into the past and future.
Right. Yeah, for me, like you said, I'm from New Orleans, and I come from 5 generations of musicians. So even before I started playing music, it was something that was a real palpable feeling in my life. And overall, being from New Orleans, where music and life coexist together as one thing, and it's just an innate part of my being and my self-awareness and an awareness of my community and surroundings. And starting to pursue music seriously, taking that natural innate influence and carrying it through my musical journey, it was something that I knew it was always going to be important to what I advocate for and what I stand for.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer that music and culture just really runs through our veins. So it's really amazing that you're able to just take your past and continue to propel that forward through your music, through your art. And, you know, it's one thing to be a musician, and it's another thing to be an artist as well. And I think everyone here on the bandstand today is really emulating that very being that Monk and Mingus, they were artists, right? They were not just...
Right. Yeah, and it's so important to, I mean, when you talk about the past, I feel like the past, I think Quincy Jones might have said that, like the past is like a flashlight going into the future, you know. Dizzy Gillespie would always say, you know, keep one foot in the past, another foot in the future to move forward. Like, you have to continue to stay a student because, you know, there's nothing new under the sun. And a lot of times, there's so much that came before us as we move forward into the unknown. There's so much that's before us, and in comparison to what's happening now, in comparison to what lies ahead. So, with that being said, that documentation is a gift to us to continue to study, like we've been using this semester to study this music. We have no idea how this can influence our contributions in the future, and for those reasons, like the past is so indispensable. I think being an artist and being a person, you know, you have to continue to see those things as one. Your life has a direct effect on your artistry. You know, the challenges, the adversity, the good times, your loved ones, the different relationships you go through, that all has an influence on how your music is going to sound. So I think it's integral for us to not run away from those things, not run away from challenges, embrace them as best as we can, and also as an artist, be vulnerable enough to tap into what you may have gone through and share that, and strive to be fearless with this. And when I say this, I'm preaching to myself, you know, and because by you doing that, you open up the hearts of somebody else to be as fearless as you. And I feel like when you look at Monk and Mingus, like you said, they went through some serious times. We think about Monk, it was not until he was in his late 30s, almost 40, where he finally started getting recognition. And he had a family of 2 children and a wife. You know, like, on paper, that's serious.
Right.
That's something that's unheard of. You know, we look at documentaries with Charles Mingus, and we see the different struggles of his life. So it's like, for those men to have the courage to put those life experiences into the music, and for people to feel that, you know, it's just a reminder not to separate the two.
It was very well said, very well said. And it's the documentation. I can recall Mingus's record Clown, I think it is, where it was just, he compared himself to this clown in this theatrical performance, and he compared his life to that. And the group did a collective improvisation based on that idea. And so when it comes to documentation and songs, that's why I love songwriting, because for me, it's a way of documenting the world around me and what I can contribute. So what are some of your compositions? How can we listen to them? How can we support you as an artist?
I recently recorded my first record. It's a live record that I recorded at the Brooklyn Museum earlier this year in New York, and it's set to come out in 2024. So I will keep you posted on that.
Congratulations.
Anybody else have a record coming out or have a record out?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, it's coming though. These cats
It's
are bad,
coming.
you know.
Yeah. Well, I'm so glad that WDNA has all of you folks joining us today. You heard it here, folks. WDNA is home to providing a space for artists. So if you want to support Jaylani and all the members of this group, you can always... Actually, I wanted to ask, is there any website where we can catch you guys? Or I think Miami needs this group. You guys must find a place to play.
Yeah, this is just the beginning. We're here to make our mark. So stay tuned.
All right.
The work will be done.
With that said, let's continue with the music. Gallop es Gallop by Monk. You know, it's a good tune when you finish the song and there's that little silence in between the song ending and the claps in the audience. You are listening to WDNA 88.9 FM. My name is Nicole Garcia. I'm your host on today's Frost Jazz Hour. You are listening to the Monk-Mingus Ensemble. We have two more songs for you, so don't go anywhere. This next one is entitled Duke Ellington's Sound of Love, written by Mingus. There it is, folks. That small moment of silence between the tune and the audience. I always think that moment is kind of like everyone's just taking it in and you're still with the music and then and then you're back. So we're back. And we do have a little bit extra time. So I just wanted to let's see. Aiden and Matthew, do you guys want to rock, paper, scissors? Because we can't do Monk-Mingus show without interviewing the pianist or the bassist. Okay, guys, we're actually doing the rock, paper, scissors for anyone who's not watching. No, just one shot. All right. All right, Aiden, come on up. I'm gonna also take a moment to introduce the rest of the band here on today's WDNA Frost Jazz Hour, the Monk-Mingus Ensemble, directed by John Hart. And I'm going to take a moment to introduce everyone. Jelani Bauman on trumpet, Xia Wan on tenor sax, Adam Lord on alto sax and bass clarinet, Bennett Weiler guitar, Matthew Sperry piano, Sten Greifer on drums, and with us here on the mic, Aiden McCarthy on bass. Welcome.
Thank you, Nicole. Great to be here.
So I asked Jelani this question as well. What does it feel like to have been studying 1 to 2 artists for 3 months at this point? How has that affected your playing?
I mean, I love it. I think it's had a tremendous impact on where I'm at musically. And then also, I think through that personally, being able to spend so much time with those two specifically. And I mean, those two, Monk and Mingus, have meant a lot to me for a long time. I mean, they've been some of my favorite artists and composers in the idiom for many, many reasons. I read the what's his name? Roger Kelly or Robin Kelly? Yeah, I read his biography of Monk, which was amazing. I read that 2 years ago. And all that to say is that it's really been amazing to immerse ourselves in that music and kind of I think giving yourself or having the time and the space to really spend with an artist is important, especially in the era of streaming. You know, we're all flipping through a gazillion albums, but to kind of know, like, okay, I'm with these artists, I think you get much more out of it in that way.
Oh, 100%. I almost can recall Maria Schneider had given a master class at and she said this. She said, give yourself permission to fall in love with something new. So a lot of her compositions, as Jelani was mentioning, had to do with her life and what she was going through at that point. So really immersing yourself in one artist, I think, or, one genre is really helpful just as a musician when we're still studying a lifelong journey. And so you're in Miami. Where are you from? Could you remind me?
Yeah, of course. I'm from Oakland, California.
Okay, so how do you like Miami, and how has the music going on here, how has that influenced you as well?
Oh my gosh! I mean, I love it here. It's a huge adventure for me, is what I tell people. It's very different. And I find that it's a amazing different, especially for this era of my life. I'm almost 3 years in, so I feel pretty settled in at this point. But in terms of music, I just feel like, generally speaking, people, at least to me, that I've been able to be around and check out on the town, just feel really empowered to, create their own projects and make their own music and hustle their dream bands or their passion music, which has been super inspiring. I don't know. It's definitely a scene where I feel like there's permission to do what excites you and what interests you. So, I mean, that's definitely had an impact. Yeah. It's been great. I mean, I love it down here. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't? I'm from here, so.
Exactly.
All right, so maybe should we let's see how much time we have. All right, let's hit it with the last tune, Baya by Monk. That's it, folks. Have a great day.